Hey everyone, and welcome to Understandable English. Have you ever tried reading American news in English? Was it difficult? Maybe there were some words or phrases like federalism, Speaker of the House, Supreme Court, impeachment, a bill, maybe a governor or executive order. Well, in this series, I'm going to explain how the US government is organized so you can better understand the news and current events. This is a 4-part series, so subscribe so you don't miss any of the other parts. Today, let's look at the different branches or parts of the US federal government and the US state governments and learn what they do. In general, we have 3 branches or parts of the government. We have the executive branch, which is like the president. We have the legislative branch, which is like the Congress, and the judicial branch, which is like the courts. Each branch should be equal, and no branch should be more powerful than the others. How this system of power is controlled is called checks and balances, but we'll talk about that in a different part. First, let's look at the executive branch. The leader and most important person in the executive branch is the President of the United States. The president is chosen every 4 years during the elections. The president has a cabinet. That's a group of people he chooses to help him make decisions. They give him advice. For example, we have the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Agriculture, the Secretary of Transportation or Education, and many other different secretaries or people who are on the cabinet. Altogether, they work as the executive branch of the US government. Now, let's look at the legislative branch. The legislative branch writes new laws or rules. There are 2 parts, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives has 435 people, or representatives. We choose them during our elections every 2 years. Each person, or representative, comes from a specific region. For example, if I live in Wisconsin, in this region, the people like me who live here choose a person who also lives in this region to represent us. That is, they go to Washington, D.C. to be in the House of Representatives. Some states have more representatives than others because it is proportional to the population. That means because more people live in California, they have more representatives than we do in Wisconsin. The other part of the legislative branch, the Senate, has only 100 people. We choose them every 6 years. They also typically live in this state, so we choose people from our state to represent us in the Senate. Lastly, let's look at the judicial branch. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court and other federal courts. The judicial branch decides if things that the legislative and executive branch, the Congress and the President, are legal or constitutional, as we say. The people in this branch are called judges or justices. They are chosen by the executive branch, or the president, and confirmed by the legislative branch, which means the legislative branch says, yes, I agree. This person should be a justice or a judge. Now, all 3 of these branches are repeated in a very similar way in the state governments. Instead of a president, they typically have a governor, which is the head of the executive branch. They also have state courts and state supreme courts, like we do in DC, and they have a Congress, or sometimes it's called an assembly. Each state is a little bit different, but more or less, they have the same system of representatives from different regions. That is, we choose a person who lives in our region, and we send them to the capital, that is DC, or the capital of the state, and they represent us in the government. Well, that is a summary of the structure of the US government and the US state governments. Subscribe for part 3 about the process of how we make a law and the ways we make sure that one branch is not more powerful or more important than the others. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Toodles!